Meet Starbug. He wanted to join us for this video, so if you see ears flapping, that's who it is. Alright. Now, after the recent suicide of Anthony Bourdain, the celebrity chef, the conservative comedian Owen Benjamin, who I have historically enjoyed, produced a video titled "Anthony Bourdain is a Coward." And in that video he described how Anthony committed suicide and as a result he's cowardly and selfish because he had a young daughter, I think 11-year-old daughter, who he left behind. This isn't meant to be an attack piece against Owen, but I think that his misconceptions about suicide are pretty pervasive. A lot of people have them, and I would like to correct them. You see, when I was 6 years old, my mother committed suicide. She had 5 children, and I'm the youngest. This is a topic that's difficult for me to talk about to mostly strangers, so I hope you'll kind of forgive me on that. I do think that this has the potential to help some people. You see, a lot of people assume that when a suicidal person dies, what he's really saying is, I don't care about the people left behind. I care more about my suffering than I do about your life. A lot of people hold that belief. And I did throughout a lot of my childhood, until I read my mother's suicide note. You see, I grew up thinking, why would you possibly leave? And I didn't get to see her suicide note for years because I was placed in care with abusive relatives. And in my early teens, a friend of mine managed to dig up the police records of her death, and in that included several suicide notes, one of which was to her kids. In that note, it explained that she actually thought that we would be better off with her dead. And remember, this is a single mother with 5 kids. No rational, sane person, no objective person would possibly see her in that position and say, hey, the kids will be better off. It rationally doesn't make sense. But a suicidal person has such a low sense of self-worth. They legitimately believe that. They believe that they are without value to those around them. That the people will actually be better without them. And I'm going to let you see, and I'm going to read along to this suicide note, so that perhaps some other people can understand the perspective of the suicidal person. And I might get choked up reading this a little bit, so forgive me. Here we go. Dear children, I'm really sorry. I know you must be angry with me for leaving you, but I have to do what I think is best for you. You deserve much more than I can give you. Remember, I love you all so very much it hurts. None of this is your fault. It is me that has failed and let you down. I tried my best, I really did. Please remember me with love, and that I will be watching over you. Think positive in life. Remember what I always used to say. PMA, positive mental attitude. If I had had this, I would have been a better person. I will love you all forever. Take care of each other, and be strong. I love you all. Mum. Now, I was 6 years old at the time when she committed suicide, as I said. And if you can remember back to when you were that age, the greatest fear of, I think, every young child is losing a parent. You know, the parent dying. In fact, I remember a couple of weeks, I think, before she died, I was laying in bed and I was crying, and I don't remember why, but she came in, it was dark, but she came in and she asked me what was wrong, and I said, I don't want you to die. I mean, it's just the fear of every kid, and I guess my fear came true. And like I said, I had trouble understanding it until I was in my teens, and I read that suicide note, and I finally understood that while she was incredibly wrong, that, you know, her belief that we would do better in her absence was incredibly wrong, it shows a very different mindset. You see, parents will do anything for their kids. I mean, it's just kind of a given. Good parents, or even decent parents, will do anything for their kids, and they'll do anything to stay there with those kids. But to know that you have to stay there with your kids, you have to have some sense of value in yourself. You have to feel that you're providing something to those kids, or to the other family members and friends around you. You have to believe that your very existence has some kind of value to someone. And when a person becomes suicidal, they don't believe that anymore. I think everyone has experienced some degree of depression at some point in their life, probably. And we know that when we're depressed, we have a lower esteem. We devalue our own accomplishments and abilities. We think that we're not as good at the things which we actually are quite capable of. You know, when a person is suicidal, that's taken to such an extreme that the person thinks that they're valueless. So it's not so much an act of cowardice, but one of self-loathing, where the person thinks that they're actually doing a favor to the people that are left behind. I'm pretty sure that all of her kids had great value to her, and from her letter that she quite clearly felt that she was doing us a favor of some kind, which is pretty horrendous in retrospect. She had 5 kids, as I said. I have 4 brothers who are all older than me. She wanted a girl, always wanted a girl, and she kept having kids until she finally had a girl, and here I am. But just a few years later, she couldn't take it anymore. Owen Benjamin's rant about suicide, I think he justified it, and a lot of his fans did, by saying, well, by condemning suicide in this way, by calling those people cowards and by calling them selfish, what we're doing is preventing other people from committing suicide. Maybe it'll help prevent somebody from dying. And that's not true. It's not true because you can't shame somebody who's suicidal. They already have no self-worth. They already think that the other people around them will be better off without them. So all you're really doing, potentially, is hurting their friends and family who are left behind. They think that they're currently, the suicidal people think that they're currently dragging everyone else down. That they're doing the world a favor by dying. And I know that it's kind of, a lot of people believe that suicidal people are cowardly. It's not just Owen. There's a huge segment of society, and only a small fraction of suicides have a note left behind explaining the intentions. So most people probably haven't ever really looked into the mind of someone who's suicidal, but they're not rational. They're literally insane by most definitions. So they think that what they're doing is a noble service to friends and family. Okay, well, that's all I have to say on this issue for now. I hope that you enjoy it, and if you think that you could perhaps help somebody somewhere down the line, please share this, and maybe we can help some people together. Thank you.